years ago, I fell into a place of darkness, depression. I felt like, geez, the world just fell. We owned a house, we lost it. We owned vehicles, we lost it. Pride got in. My wife says, our daughter and our son-in-law have asked us to come in, move into the house, so you don't have to worry about paying for this rent. And I says, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And pride kicked in. Took me a while, but then I said, you know what? Let's do it. Work was no good. I think I testified about this a few years ago. I preached on the wilderness. How God puts you in a place sometimes so He can get your attention. We were so far rock bottom that I was looking up to look at bottom. And I listened to all this news, all this fake stuff that was coming through. You can't do it. You've lost everything. What is your family going to think of you? What are your friends going to think of you? What's everybody around you, your cousins, your relatives? You were such, you had so much and now you've got nothing. I remember at my daughter's house, I'd be in my bedrobe, morning to sundown. I'd sit on the couch. The only thing that was kind of normal was Friday night pizza. Every Friday night I would order pizza. Not one, but 3. And that was normal for me. But everything else, it was driving me crazy. Because I heard everything that possibly people could say to you, I took it on board. From 30 years ago, trying to do things in my life, through business, through anything, someone would say to me, you can't do it. I listened to it. You can't do this. Then I can't do it. Problem that I was having was, I was listening to people that didn't do it, that couldn't do it. So guess what? I couldn't do it. Nothing was going right. I want to encourage men. You might be sitting there, you might be going through some stuff. I heard testimonies yesterday of things that men went through. And today I'm pouring out to you to let you know that if you're going through a state of depression, there's people around you that can help. There's people there that can listen to you. It wasn't a good place to be in. But sometimes you've got to go into a place to hear from God. Now, I wasn't happy. My children, they weren't happy with me. And I could feel it. I was negative. There was nothing positive in my life. I remember, and this is how bad it gets. I felt the calling of God, and I wanted to start a church and wanted to do all that, and I thought that, where it was? It was in Canada. Remember that? Pastor Stan, I think I've been called to go to Canada and start a church, and okay, let's pray about it. What was I doing? I was trying to run away. I was trying to run away from the things that were happening here, thinking that if I went over there, things would be just better. My wife, she's such an awesome lady. She stuck by me. She was praying and praying and praying. Lord, just give him a job. Just give him something. And she prayed and prayed and prayed. I don't know if you're familiar, if you remember Kanina that used to come here. She worked for a company called King Homes. I remember being, sitting there pouting about no work and I'm going to go to Canada. I was on the computer trying to get my visa ready. I was going. I give God 30 days. 30 days, God, that's it. If I don't hear nothing from you, I'm on the plane, I'm going. My wife was praying. Then one day, literally the 29th day, I was on my computer and then it just popped up, this supervisor position at King Homes. I said, wow, give him a call. I called Kanina up. I said, are you guys offering a job? She says, well, I didn't know he was doing it yet, but yeah. So I called up Mark. He said to me, I'll pick you up. Let's go. I'll take you around. Took me around, offered me a job on the spot. But me, pride, came home, didn't say nothing to my wife. Because in my mind, I'd done the visa, ready to go to Canada. I'm gone. The job, that's great, Kanina came over one night and she was talking. She said, isn't it great that Mark gave George a job? What do you mean he gave him a job? I didn't tell my wife that. I didn't want any ammo. So I just kept it quiet. And she said to me, when were you going to tell me? I said, look, it's not 100%. It's just, he just offered that. I said, I'm not sure. But I had to think about it. I had to get my head around it and say, look, I gave God 30 days. Either I'm a man of my word or I'm not. Right. And it was the 29th day. He stuck to his bargain. And you don't sort of tempt God. But he stuck to his bargain. So I took on that job. And as I took it on, I remember a few months before that, pastor had asked me to preach. And this is when I was battling with God, and I finally decided to give in to God. And God started to speak to me. And God started to say, listen, now you can zip it up and let me talk. And when he started talking, I was breaking down. The job came through. God used me in the service. Then things started to change. The biggest change in my life was all that negative. I decided that whoever was going to speak to me, if it wasn't a positive attitude, it was gone. I don't want to hear it anymore. I changed that. I was 115 kilos. And I wanted to do stomach surgery so I can lose the weight because I had a hard time breathing. It was pain in my chest, and I probably wouldn't have been around today. But I did not want to tell anybody about the surgery because I didn't want anybody telling me, oh, don't do it, there's bad results and this and that. I didn't want to hear no negative about it. I spoke to the people who did it and the people who came out of it and said, this is the greatest thing. I spoke to my daughter as well. When I did the surgery and I felt like all the weight literally went off, but my mind started to change. I started to have a shift. I started listening to people that were more positive, no more negative. I started to listen to God saying that you are able. You can do this. You can do that. I wasn't listening to people that were saying, oh, you know what? I think you're just wasting your money. Don't do it anymore. Once I got my head on right, when things started to switch in my brain and I started to listen to the positive side of things, listening to people who have accomplished stuff and done things, then things started to change in my life. I stand before you today with 100% guaranteed that everything that I've accomplished in my life, God did. I've done nothing. Everything that I did was under. I couldn't do anything on my own. Today, any man that's here today that is struggling, that is going through something, take it from me. God is the only one that can take you out of it.